Call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka?
Here.
Councilman Acomando?
Here.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Here.
Councilwoman Mazur?
Here.
Council President Garrett?
Here. Please rise for the flag salute and remain standing for a moment of silence in memory of Father Robert McBride, former pastor at St. Philip's, and Joanne Brendel, and former Board of Education trustee Anthony Alia. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Southbrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by saying made have in the past sought legal redress through courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
Okay, before we open the meeting to the public, we're going to hear from our Township Auditor, Steve Wilcox, regarding the budget for 2023.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everybody. You have before you tonight the 2023 municipal budget to have the public hearing and ultimately for adoption. 2023 has been a pretty rough year for most municipalities and governments, every citizen in the country. Inflationary issues, the things in this budget for 23 that are causing the tax increase, solid waste and recycling, insurance premiums, pensions, statutory allocation for the library, contractual salaries, Safe Valley Sewer, and a little bit of an increase in debt service because the interest rates on our temporary financing went from about 0.5% to 4.5% by virtue of the Fed raising the interest rate time and time again in order to try to get inflation under control. The things that you could control, again, it's almost like a broken record. Each year we sit here, and the things you can control, you control. All your departments, all your programs. There's the minimum increase in the budget from 22 to 23 for all that you do and all that you provide to the residents of the township. We have this brand new building, open, running, programs, all types of good things going on. And the debt service for this building is baked into the budget. The total debt service increase from 22 to 23 is $43,000, which is by virtue of the increase in the interest rate on temporary financing. And for those naysayers that said, well, they said certain things I won't repeat, but they didn't believe us. They didn't believe that you could take on this type of new construction, this type of new building to service all your programs, all the recreation stuff, and not have a disastrous impact on the budget, on debt service, and on taxes. So I think you should give yourselves a little pat on the back or applause because you're here, you did it, it's on the books, it's being utilized, and I can't imagine there's one person that's unhappy walking through the front door as opposed to going through the front door of 93 Market Street. So the municipal tax increase a little bit higher than it has been in previous years, at $185 on the average residential assessment of $434,583. again, drivers are some of the things I talked about before. I calculated the Board of Ed increase, that's approximately $134 on the average assessment, and the county will be introducing their budget next week, I believe. There's about a little over 1% increase in the tax levy, and as you know, the way county taxes work, each town, you get 70 towns, depending on how your ratables did, up or down, it's spread out through all 70 towns. What I read was that the average increase is like $46, but again, that's going to vary from town to town. Some towns will have no increase, some towns might have a decrease, some towns may have a little bit more of an increase. Again, it's ratable based and equalized value based. So, with that, anybody in the council have any questions?
Mayor, any questions?
Steve, I just wanted you to explain to the public, this year we have to do estimated taxes, and could you explain what that's all about? I mean, we're sending out a letter,
Right.
but I think you can explain it short and sweet, where it takes me, you know, that's what they say, if you can't explain something in a couple of words, you really don't know enough about it. So I think you do, and you can explain it better.
Thank you, Mayor. Quite simply, you're sending out estimated tax bills because the final tax bills will not be printed in time for the August 1st payment. And again, this is not a Saddlebrook issue. This is because the county is just presenting their budget now, and they're going to have to go through the process. Will be at the third week in June. They won't have a public hearing till the third week in July, presumably adopted. By the time the tax rates are struck by the county, we'd be well into August. So then the bills wouldn't go out till maybe the end of August, beginning of September. You have to give a 20-day grace period. You wouldn't be collecting any money till the third week or so of September. And for you and a lot of other municipalities in the county, you need to collect your taxes in order to pay your bills. It's simply a cash flow issue. And to the residents, it's really no different. The estimated third quarter bill was calculated with your budget intact. The amount to be raised by taxes that's in your budget. The amount to be raised by taxes that was certified for the school district, and an estimate for the county. So the variation, the third quarter bill is going to be X. The fourth quarter bill might go up a couple dollars. It might actually go down a couple dollars, depending on where we end up with the final allocation of county taxes. So nobody likes doing it. It's extra work. It's extra postage. It's a little bit of a pain, and the general public doesn't understand it because it's not the regular tax bill they get with the 4 coupons for the last 2 quarters of this year and the first 2 quarters of next year. But we need it, most towns need to do that in order to be able to pay the school, make payroll, and run the summer programs and do all the things that you do on a daily basis.
Thank you, Steve. And last year, we did not do the estimated, and our bills went out really late.
Right, and the township had a little bit of trouble paying some of its bills for a period of time because, again, it's all cash flow.
And then some of our residents paid one bill 1 month, and then the next bill they had to pay.
Again, and that's part of the downside of not doing estimated bills is that it built under the scenario I just put out there. If they don't get their bill to the third week in September, 20 days grace runs into the beginning of October, and then the fourth quarter is due November 1st.
Exactly.
So that is a hardship, can be a hardship, and probably is and was a hardship for some residents because, again, paying 2 quarters of taxes within a 3 or 4 week period is probably very burdensome.
Believe me, we heard about it.
I'm sure you did. That's why, As you brought it up.
Any other questions from the council? So overall, Steve, what would you say our financial situation is here in Saddlebrook? What do you think overall?
Hey, listen, we've continually built and grown our surplus, which allowed us to use $900,000 more in this year's budget than we used in last year's budget. We used 2.3 in '22. We generated almost 3.3 in '22, and we put back 3.2 into this year's budget. And that helped buy down some of the increases in costs, and also helped us, for 2 years, we had federal American Rescue Plan money to use as revenue loss in the budget to help soften the blow from the revenues that we weren't collecting from the onset of the pandemic and some right up to today. The hotel motel tax, for 2 years, there was basically no hotel motel tax coming back to municipalities because the hotels were not selling rooms. Court revenue was way down. So we've been able to absorb a lot of that loss through utilizing additional surplus in this budget. And again, part of the plan going back 5 years ago, when we first started thinking about this building and the cost of this building, was incrementally grow the surplus over a period of years so that when it came time when that debt service hit the budget, we'd have money put away in order to help offset what the impact would be to the taxpayers. And we were able to accomplish that. Awesome.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Motion to open the meeting to the public for a public hearing on the 2023 municipal budget and remain open for other items. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur?
Yes.
Council President Garrett.
Yes. Anyone wishing to address the council regarding the budget or any other items, please step up to the podium. State your name and address, please, Thomas.
Good evening, everyone. Thomas Van Winkle, 128 Lincoln Avenue, Saddlebrook. I just want to start by saying it was nice that we did that moment of silence for Father McBride, Tony Alliott, and Joanne Brindell. It's all great people. I was fortunate enough to know Anthony Alliott and Joanne Brindell. Mr. Alliott was a great person, good friend that really gave back to everybody in town. I also had his wife as my homeroom teacher when I was in Smith School back then, so it's just a great all-around family. Also, I want to speak about Joanne Brindell. As many of you remember, and those of you who don't know, she used to do all the photos for all the town events. She was basically our township photographer for many years. And I was fortunate enough to be able to work alongside her and get to see, get to be inspired by her. And that's why, and I think of her every day to do the town photos. So, and she loved doing it. She loved it, and that's where I feel like I get it from. So I just really want to make sure I mention that tonight. Next, I want to talk about the Mayor's Youth Group. We're going to be volunteering, helping out with the fishing derby, which will be this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Saddlebrook County Park, in the LC Bailey area by the pond. Right now, the weather is looking good for the fishing derby, so we hope to see all our youth group members and everybody from our community come out. It's a fun time every year. And that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Seeing no one else, motion to close, please.
Sure.
Second. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur?
Yes.
Council President Garrett.
Yes.
We now have the resolution for the adoption of the municipal budget for the year 2023. And we need a motion and a second.
Motion. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur?
Yes.
Council President Garrett.
Yes. Council comments, Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
I just want to thank, regarding the budget, Maureen and Steve for preparing the budget. They did a great job. As I mentioned, and I had Steve talk about the estimated taxes, there will be a letter explaining the estimated taxes that will be enclosed with the tax bill. Our recreation center is up and running, open to the public, I'm happy to say, being utilized every day except Sunday. It's closed on Sundays. We've had a couple of championship teams that held their parties, celebrations in our all-purpose room. Myself and Councilman Simaluka attended, which was a good thing. Regarding the rec center, any questions that you may have, I'm talking to the public now, to people watching on the TV. Anybody that has any questions, you can contact either Recreation Director Andy Gallo or Assistant Director Diane Bonner. Their number is, if you call the main line, it's 201-587-2900, extension number 7. You also want to check out our town website and our Saddlebrook Recreation Facebook page. It has a lot more information about the rec center, scheduling, and other things. So I'm real happy to say that that's up and running. Ordinances tonight, we have 3 that are for first reading, and they all involve the township and residents. The first is an increase in fines for offenses regarding property maintenance. $250 for the first offense, up to $250, up to $500 for the second offense, and $1,000 for the third offense. What we found, our maintenance officers have seen that it didn't seem like the fines that were there were a deterrent. They were too low, and so some residents were just, they take the fine rather than repair or fix the property. We also have one no right on red, this Mayhill Street extension here to Town Hall and beyond, going westbound. When you pull out, there's by the light, there's a no turn on red. We also did some channelization on the other side for the people that are making the left, coming Mayhill, going westbound. That now there's lanes there, which we took the advice of our engineer, and did a traffic study there, and so this is what came out of it, and we think it's a lot safer now. So that ordinance for the no right on red. And then lastly, there's one, all property maintenance violations must be abated, including repairs and replacement of sidewalks prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy or certificate of reoccupancy. So in other words, that these, especially sidewalks, we find there's a lot throughout the town that need to be repaired. They're up, they're too high, causing maybe a tripping hazard. So this should help that. We're also going to try to reach out to the residents, the ones that we notice, and tell them that they have to get it repaired. Also, public service gas and electric is going to be replacing the gas main. They're going to start the week of June 26th. So that's when they're supposed to start. It's going to take a couple of weeks, but there's going to be a detour there. So that's a heavily traveled road with the parkway and the entrance to the parkway and Route 80. So expect delays there. It'll be announced on the township website, on Facebook, probably be through a Nixle as well, through the police department. That work's supposed to go on from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Mayor,
Yeah.
I hate to interrupt.
Sure.
I don't know if you mentioned where they're going to do the,
Did I say Paley Avenue? No, I didn't. I'm sorry. That's on Paley Avenue. I'm sorry. Yeah, so, now I want to have our engineer Bob Klein, I mentioned to him earlier, just do a little update on our paving, our road paving program, because there's going to be a lot of work over the summer, and I just want the residents to be aware that it is going on and where it's occurring.
I'll start with Cambridge Avenue. The work on that street had started earlier in the year. We paused as we got closer to the school. That work will pick up again. It looks, talking to the contractor, it looks like after the 4th of July weekend. Congress Street is a CDBG funded road that is going to, that's being awarded tonight. I would expect that project to probably start sometime next month in July, sometime after the 4th as well. Alberta Drive is the NJDOT funded road, where we completed the plans and we submitted them to NJDOT. We're now addressing a few of their comments, and then we'll go out to bid with that project. And then finally, the next bid package for this year's roads will consist of Strathmore Terrace, Avon Lane, Van Looing Terrace, Kern Place, and Hutter Street. And those plans are nearly complete, and we'll be going out to bid, I'm going to say, within the next couple of weeks. And that's it.
Thank you, Bob. Next, the Hometown Heroes banners. I want to talk a little bit about that. We did have an unveiling ceremony that took place on Saturday, May the 27th, right here in the parking lot of 55 Maple Street. All the banners were displayed together, and each veteran or banner sponsor received a proclamation and a veteran pin. It was a very nice ceremony. All the banners have now been installed on telephone utility poles on Market Street and Saddle River Road. They were installed by Gates Flags. I just want the residents to know, and some of the banner sponsors, that there are restrictions on what poles they can go on. Certain poles can't be used, and then they must also be placed at certain heights, depending on whether it's on the inside or the curb side, or it's on the outside, being the street side. The problem with the street side is that if it's not high enough, it's supposed to be at least 15 feet, the bottom of the banner, at least 15 feet above the ground, because it could be struck by trucks. We did have overall, I think, they were done well. Gates did a good job. We did have to change a few. There was a couple that, there was some visibility problems. We even had the DPW go out where they could and trim back a little bit of the trees that were blocking. But overall, I think they're all right now, and they look good, and they're hung in a respectful manner. I want to thank Mike Nahay, Lou Varelli, and Rich Shanahan. They're part of the banner committee, and they really did an awesome job, and they worked very hard. Also, too, that it's a learning experience. These banners are going to go up for 5 years. They're going to stay up now until after Veterans Day, which is November the 11th, I believe. So they're going to be up, and then they're going to come down, and then our winter banners are going to go up, and then they'll go back up in the spring before Memorial Day. So, we may look at some things. We've got some suggestions from residents and from banner sponsors. So we're going to take that all into account and try to do the best job we can for our veterans. The whole idea is to show respect and honor for those heroes. Speed humps. We're putting one on Strathmore Terrace. Residents last year signed a petition requesting that be done. Also, a resident survey went out for Shepis Avenue. We had done a traffic study there. We got kind of mixed results, but we will have the results by the end of the month. A lot of them are coming in already. Every resident on Shepis was notified and was given a survey and with a self-addressed stamped envelope, and we got about 30 back out of 75. We're also going to be doing we are going to be doing a traffic study on South Broadway. The committee discussed that road. That was brought up a long time ago, and then for some reason it fell by the wayside, but we do believe that may be a location for a speed bump as well. Events over the last month, the VFW installation was on Saturday, May the 13th. Congratulations to all the officers from Post 3484, also the auxiliary and the riders group. Memorial Day was a beautiful day. Sunday the 28th, all the ceremonies and the parade went great. I want to congratulate Grand Marshal Lou Darminio, former Mayor Lou Darminio was the Grand Marshal. I want to thank everyone that was involved, and I always forget somebody, but definitely the police department, the fire department, ambulance corps, all our emergency services, Thomas Van Winkle for taking pictures, Tyler Posey helped them out with taking pictures, Raphael for videotaping everything, made a really nice video of both the parade, one video for the parade and one for all the ceremonies. So it was a long day, starting at 8:30 in the morning and ending at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. So, also I want to thank Master of Ceremonies, Bob Kugler, who filled in for Lou Darminio. Lou usually does it, but he couldn't because he was being paraded around. And Flo Mazer had the distinction, Councilwoman Flo Mazer had the distinction of driving in her beautiful Mercedes. So, but overall, everything went well. And I thank the parade committee, everybody. I'm sorry if I forgot somebody. Primary elections were Tuesday, June the 6th. I want to thank Pete Latico, our clerk, also Frank Morale, our assistant clerk, and all the poll workers. It was a long day for them. I tell you what, I'm still getting used to this 100% computerized voting. It's going to take a while, but it's different. But I'm glad we're getting the kinks out. So we had a car show, which was hosted by American Cruisers this past Sunday, June 11th, and I'll let Todd talk about that. Flag Day was yesterday, Wednesday, June the 14th. Many towns do ceremonies. I was asked by some people why we don't. In Saddlebrook, we celebrate Flag Day quietly. It's not because we're unpatriotic, but we do an awful lot in this month. We started with our annual Memorial Day parade, and then we have the fireworks coming up on July 3rd. So, we wish everybody a happy Flag Day. Upcoming events, we have the Fishing Derby this Saturday, June 17th at Saddle River County Park around Otto Paley Lake. That's 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Parents can still contact my office, 201-587-2903. If you want to register, we have 40 people that registered, so that's a pretty nice amount. So that should be a nice time. Hopefully the weather will be good. I mentioned our annual fireworks. They are Monday, July the 3rd. Again, at Saddle River County Park by Otto Paley Lake. That starts at 9 o'clock or whenever it gets dark enough. We don't have a set rain date, so let's hope for great weather. We will, if it does get rained out, we just don't know what that rain date is. If we wanted a rain date, we would have had to pay a lot of money to secure whatever that date was. Usually it's the 4th or the 5th or somewhere close to there. So we're praying that it's going to be. I don't think we've ever gotten rained down. I don't think we ever have. I don't believe so. Once. Town historian remembers. We also have some summer concerts coming up. I'm going to let Mr. Simaluka talk about that. July 25th and August 3rd, so towards the end of the summer. I'm very proud to announce that we're going to have our first Junior Police Academy program. It's open to Saddlebrook students that are entering the 8th grade as of September of 2023. It's going to go August 14th to the 18th. The curriculum will include lessons in physical fitness, discipline, courtesy, and respect. Recruits will also experience police demonstrations, and off-site tours, as well as a field trip. The week will conclude with a graduation party. There's no registration fee for the academy. The tuition and the events are free. The application deadline is June the 30th, 2023. So for more information, parents, you can obtain an application. Please reach out to Detective Sergeant Rebecca Rivero at 201-587-2920 or support services at saddlebrookpd.com. And Raphael will list that on the video. Thanks, Raphael. Last few things, my condolences to the Brendells and Alia families. On Sunday, June the 11th, I attended a special needs over 21 softball team. They played softball at Nedlick Field in the early afternoon. It's kind of a takeoff of the Challenger League. I don't know if people know what that is, but it's sports for people with special needs. And I want to give a big shout out to Tommy Purple Hayes, who really does a fantastic job. He manages the team, and I had such a good feeling after I went there, and I pitched to him. Not very well, but I pitched, and these kids they're so enthusiastic, and they're really appreciative. And I was talking to one of the fathers, and he was saying that his son, like all week long, he was preparing. He got his cleats and his helmet and his bat. He was out in the yard, and he just really, it meant the world to them. So it was really touching. And again, Tommy, he does a great job. Congratulations to all the graduates who are graduating from preschool all the way to college. And Father's Day is Saturday, June the 18th. Happy Father's Day, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Akamoto?
I just have the junior police academy. It's from 8th grade to 12th grade?
No, it's just kids going into the 8th grade. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just the one grade.
Okay. Yeah, as far as the car show, it was from the American Cruisers Car Club, and they money raised went to is going to the ambulance corps. We will be issuing them a check next week sometime, but they didn't expect to have as many cars as they did. They were expecting 100 cars. They got 97. So for first time out, it was good. The weather was beautiful. They gave away about 50 trophies. So I'd like to congratulate all the trophy winners. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of them, but there's always next time. And hopefully, you just mentioned Tommy Hayes, and I think the Challenger program is a great program. I think maybe next time, whether it be here or not, I think we should see if they'll do something for the challengers with the donation for money raised, or the fire department.
That's a great idea.
Congratulations to all the graduates from the Mayor said kindergarten to 12th grade. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers, and I'll take a line from Andrew, and the mothers that double duty on Father's Day. I just wanted to bring this up. All of us up here, we really good thought to putting this building together. And I think it's beautiful. And a couple of weeks ago, we had received a call of vandalism in the rec area by a child. So I just want to say publicly that if your child is caught doing something so heinous and ignorant, that they will be removed from the building. Not physically, but they will be removed from the building, and they won't be allowed to come back to the building for whether it be months or maybe permanent, because it's just unacceptable that we have this beautiful building for the kids somewhere to go, and to get a phone call that, oh, it's been vandalized. It's not a good feeling. I mean, it's not a good feeling for us. It's probably not a good feeling for the people running the rec program. And like Bob said, that gym is a godsend. I couldn't tell you how many kids are there every day playing basketball. It's keeping them off the street. It's kids from different grades are known kids from other towns that never get to meet each other, so it's a good thing that they're going to utilize it like that. And I believe, I'm not sure the date of the picnic. I think it's the 23rd. Is it 23rd?
I know it's always the last Saturday in August.
But this year they're going to have a band as well as a DJ, so it'll be working in conjunction with each other. 26th. Thank you. So, with that being said, enjoy your summer and be safe.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Mazur.
Thank you, Council President. At this time, I'd like to offer my condolences also to the families of Father McBride, Joanne Brendel, and of course, Anthony Allia. I had the privilege of knowing all three. Like I said, my heart, my prayers go out to the family. May they rest in peace. I'd like to also congratulate and thank everyone involved in preparing such a fiscally responsible budget. Of course, our mayor, department heads, Maureen, our auditor, of course, and Pete, and of course, council. Good pat on the back. Did an awesome job. Also, I'd like to congratulate and mention Nancy Garrow's 100th birthday party. See, I got you. I'll take all the credit. But anyway, her birthday was actually on June 3rd, right, with the party on June 5th. It was a beautiful celebration, and Nancy, we love you. And I also, of course, wish all the fathers, grandfathers, stepfathers, happy Father's Day. And also a shout out to not only kindergarten to grad school, yeah, preschool also. Sorry that we did. They're awesome. It's actually the first graduation, first of many for them, of them. But congratulations, class of 2023, and best of luck to everyone. And that's it for now.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Sanchez.
The Hometown Heroes ceremony was really, really nice. The banners came out great. We got one for my grandfather. You know, I thought it was a very nice tribute. I went to the car show. The car show was awesome too. It was a little warm, but you know, very nice weather, very nice turnout. The ambulance corps appreciated it. Congratulations, you know, to all the graduates they mentioned previously, and happy Father's Day.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Zuluka.
You can sing, you know? Fight for nothing, right? A couple of things. The town hall, municipal complex is a work in progress, and we have to twist Maureen's arm, but we're looking to potentially get some bike racks, because when we came here, already ordered, see, I didn't have to twist her arm. But actually, my wife came to get a certificate of occupancy for something, and there were 10 bikes just hanging out on the ramp to the building department. I don't know why they would be over there when the rec center was here, but when I came in to go to the rec center, again, 10 bikes all over the place. So we want people to have easy access. We pride ourselves on making this ADA accessible, and so we are planning on getting some bike racks. And I think, did we talk about Feathersfield also? Or? No. Okay. We'll have to twist your arm for that. We'll twist your arm for that one. But we're probably going to do the same thing for that. More and more kids are taking their bikes here. And like Todd said, it's a great thing when you come in and you see, 10, 15, 20 kids playing ball. And it's one of the reasons that when we did that, we just didn't have the 2 baskets. We've got the baskets on either end, and then we've got 4 other baskets. We've got a total of 6 baskets there. If you haven't come down to see it, please do. The fitness room, I think, is great. I think Andy said when they had open houses, they signed up about 300 people. Currently, it's, doesn't cost anything. We're gonna evaluate that. But right now, it's a great place, and like the mayor said, we have the cheerleading celebration, because they were the national overall champs down in Florida, I think it was. But they were the overall champions, I think they're third, kindergarten to fourth grade. And I think 2 weeks before that, we were both at the celebration for the basketball. I forget what years they were, maybe fourth grade, seventh grade, something like that, 2 different years. But that multi-purpose room is awesome for that purpose. We're gonna get a lot of use out of that. Like Todd said, in regards to the vandalism, there's just absolutely no place for that. This is, especially the rec center, it's for the youth. For you guys, no kid is watching this, but for the parents, just, it shouldn't happen. It does happen, We can say kids will be kids, but it just ruins it for everyone else, because every day that we have to take that equipment out of commission before we clean it up or repair it, it's a day that the kids can't use it. So it's really hurting the kids of the community. And like Todd said, we have to have a zero tolerance policy for something like that. So that person, if caught, would be barred from using this place. And shame on them for doing it, but also you're hurting yourself, because if you're caught, and now that everything is on video, you're going to get caught, let's face it. You're just hurting yourself, because you're not going to be able to take advantage of what the town is giving you. In terms of the ordinances that we have on today, just a couple, the mayor had mentioned it. The one with the property maintenance, the reason that the fines are going up is because it's keeping with other towns. The fines were ridiculously low. It kind of was the cost of doing business. Why should I do it? But it's, hey, I'll pay the $25. No, so we've raised the numbers, but we also made sure that it's progressive in terms of the number of violations, but it's up to, meaning that you can come in and maybe technically you did something and you take responsibility for it, but there are extenuating circumstances, so the judge can hear that, and up to $250 could mean zero, and it could mean $250. So it gives the judge some discretion, and it gives the judge who is trained to listen to people and make a determination on the facts of the case, and let him determine what the appropriate punishment should be. The ordinance with regard to the certificate of occupancy, just in case it wasn't clear from what the mayor said, doesn't mean that everyone's tomorrow is gonna get a ticket and you gotta go clean up your sidewalk. What happens is when people go to sell their house, for years, they might even be cited for sidewalk violations. And then they go to sell the house, and now it's the next person's problem, but no more. If you want to sell your house and get a CO, you're going to have to fix what you should have probably fixed to begin with. We're not talking about, no one's going because there's a crack in your sidewalk. No one's saying that. But there are some horrific, and I mean horrific, sidewalks in town. Most of them uprooted by trees, but it's just not fair. Again, I mentioned we pride ourselves on being ADA accessible. There's no way that anybody in a wheelchair, anybody with a walker, anybody with one of those rascals is going to be able to navigate some of the sidewalks. I know my neighbor tripped and fell on a ridiculously displaced sidewalk flag and twisted her ankle. Her ankle was the size of a softball. It was crazy. So again, it's not to punish people, it's just to do the right thing. And so eventually, these things will get fixed. The third one, what was that? The red on red, yeah. Right, before we vote on that, to the attorney, I believe that when we got the proposed ordinance, there are 3 sections, and 2 of them I think need to be spelled out. I believe the intersection is actually the Mayhill Street extension, which is where the light is, at the intersection of Mayhill Street. Mayhill Street is that winding road, we're on the extension, and it's eastbound, that it would be there. So I think we have to specify, that there's spaces in there, otherwise I wouldn't even thought about it, but there's spaces as to where it is. So I think before we vote on that, that should be filled in, that it's easterly and it is at the intersection of the Mayhill Street extension and Mayhill Street. The mayor had indicated the concerts, again, they're on the 25th and the 3rd. Forever Young is a more of a doo-wop type band, an oldies type band, although they do some modern stuff. They're called Forever Young. And the second band on the 3rd is called Mushmouth. They do everything from the 70s to current pop hits. So they do a little bit of everything. So I encourage you, before you go, to look them up, Google them. They have their own websites. Forever Young is one band, and Bushmouth, I believe it's Mushmouth. And one of the complaints we got last year we had one, this year we're gonna have two, and possibly we can do more. And I wanna thank Councilman Accomando for being very, very thorough and persistent in obtaining the stage, basically, the trailer, because they can't perform on the ground, they need a trailer. And he was able to obtain that from another municipality due to his connections there. So thank you, Todd, for your help with doing that. One complaint that we had last year was that people didn't know about it. I mean, we put it up, nowadays everything is social media, but for some reason, apparently, people want us to go back to the old days. So we're gonna have flyers, besides the social media, that's still gonna go on, but we're gonna have flyers, and we're gonna post them in various stores and places that people attend. That seems like what people want. And also, we're hoping to get a banner on Market Street, so this way no one can say that they don't know about it. Because we want as many people as possible to come. Last year was pretty well attended. We'd like to sell out. We'd like to, not that it costs anything, so you don't sell anything, but we'd like to have a real full parking lot over there with people, because I think it brings the entire community together. I gotta say, but the township fountain was sold. I was the attorney for the Bob and Teresa West. They sold it. They had it for about 40 years, and I think, I wasn't living in Saddle with them, but I think for 20 or 30 years before that, it was somebody else owned it, and it was anyone my age, probably it's been since they were a kid, have been able to go to the township fountain. It's gone, so I congratulate Bob and Teresa on a new chapter in their life, and Gloria Broussard is going to be the new owner. It's called Adriani's Cafe, a floral cafe, and I wish her the best of luck. And please, like we say, to any new business, please patronize our local businesses. The mayor had mentioned about the speed tables. I don't have the numbers in, but we are doing a speed study on South Broadway, and what we're also going to do is, after those numbers come in, just like we're doing on Shepis, send something out, because we could have the data, but we'd like to do both. We'd like to be supported by data and also have community acceptance of what we're trying to do, and that is to try and slow people down. It's for everybody's safety. Another thing is, a person that I work with is involved with Caldwell, I don't know if it's university, Caldwell College, but university. So they have this ambitious program. They want people to go there. They have a very aggressive scholarship campaign. Now, I don't know all of the particulars. He did send me an email. I am going to send it to the guidance counselors over there at the school and the Board of Ed. But if anyone has a question on it, the only way I can say is email me. It's councilmansimiluka@saddlebrooknj.gov, and I can give anyone listening that is interested. It goes anywhere from some money to a full scholarship, and I think for a couple of people, they even have something where it's a full scholarship and room and board. And there are some, obviously, educational qualifications you need, but I also believe that there might be some monetary income limitations. They're trying to help out people that otherwise wouldn't be able to attend there. So you can contact me through our town website. Condolences again, like we said, Tony Alia, who has been a friend. Remember the Gray Hair Squad? If anyone remembers the Gray Hair Squad, a bunch of guys that got together and were at every function volunteering. And I think myself and Lou Darminio might be the only people that are still living. So Tony was a good guy. Joanne Brendel, just an amazing person. She loved doing what she did in terms of photography. She really reveled in that. And I guess she was the mentor for our new town photographer, Thomas. So both of them do a great job, but Joanne was sorely missed. Also, Marilyn Masello, who was our Board of Ed president at one point and was a longtime Board of Ed member, her mom passed away, so my condolences to the Masello family, and her maiden name is Sidisi, so the Sidisi family also. I think that's it for me. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you, Councilman. I have a little bit less to report. That's okay. I want to thank the mayor, Maureen, Pete, the department heads, the council members for their hard work with the budget. Each year it seems to be getting more and more difficult. We know from the economic situation here with the inflation, the price of garbage, the price of fuel. So it's really a wonderful job what was done. I also want to thank our auditor, Steve, for keeping an eye on everything and doing a wonderful job. And it shows the work and the collaboration that goes into something like this. And I just want to commend everybody for their hard work. Our next flood committee meeting will be on Thursday, June 29th at 6:30 at the Senior Center. All are welcome to attend. But we'll be there on the 29th, Thursday at 6:30. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. And finally, I just want to wish everyone a safe and happy summer, as well as a happy 4th of July. I know you got a lot of information here. Andrew, Todd, Flo, Sarah, and the mayor. Hopefully we get a lot of viewers and they see what's going on here. And there is a lot to report because we're doing a lot in the town. And I think we're doing a lot of wonderful things for our residents. So I just want to commend everybody here for the job that they're doing. So thank you. Ordinances, Pete?
Ordinances, we have final reading, ordinance 1735-23. Calendar year 2023 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank pursuant to NJSA 48:4-45.14 for second reading.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Simaluka?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur? Council President Garrett?
Yes.
Calendar year 2023 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank pursuant to NJSA 48:4-45.14.
Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
I'm sorry, motion to open to the public.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone wishing to be heard on this ordinance? No one? Okay, motion to close.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be it resolved by the Township Council, the Township of Southbrook, excuse me, that the ordinance entitled an ordinance for calendar year 2023 to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank pursuant to NJSA 48:4-45.14 is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second?
Roll call.
Councilman Saluka.
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur. Council President Garrick.
Yes.
Next is first reading, ordinance 1736-23. An ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 154 of the code of the Township of Southbrook entitled Property Maintenance for first reading.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Saluka.
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur.
Yes.
Council President Garrick.
Yes.
Now therefore be resolved by the Township Council that the ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 154 of the Code of the Township of Southbrook entitled Property Maintenance, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for a final passage at a meeting to be held on the 20th day of July 2023 at 7 o'clock p.m. or sooner after as the matter can be reached at the municipal complex, 55 Mayhill Street, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion.
Second?
Roll call.
Councilman Saluka.
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur.
Yes.
Council President Garrick.
Yes.
First reading ordinance 1737-23, an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 196 of the Code of the Township of Southbrook entitled Vehicles and Traffic for first reading.
Motion.
Motion.
Second?
Roll call.
That would be with the comments or suggestions that Councilman Saluka.
Right, I just wanted to confirm that now, I have the ordinance in front of me. The name of street, I think the name of the street is actually Mayhill Street Extension, is it? Just to delineate it from, or differentiate it from the Mayhill Street, because Mayhill Street curves, and then there's, I believe that that's called the extension. So it would be, the name of the street would be Mayhill Street Extension, direction of traffic east at intersection of Mayhill Street. That's what I believe it should, the ordinance, the wording should read.
I think that it should be as specific as possible, but I would confirm with the police department if that is in fact the legal name of the street, and as the councilman suggested, indicate the intersecting street. If there's more than one intersection along Mayhill, I'm not that familiar with the roads in Southbrook, but if there's more than one intersection on Mayhill Street, you should indicate the intersecting street where the stop sign's going, where the no turn on red is going to be placed.
I know, it's interesting, because this is 55 Mayhill Street, but it would be the intersection of Mayhill Street and Mayhill Street. If not, so I think maybe even in parentheses, extension or something, just so we can make sure everyone knows what we're talking about.
Pete, you know, because this street used to be, it used to be a private road called
And
John.
we sectioned it years ago, and I think it's Mayhill Street.
Wasn't it?
I'll have to check.
Wasn't that long
On
ago?
the acceptance of the road. But,
It was what, maybe 10 years ago.
I know.
I remember sitting in the audience and it was a big argument over it.
Yeah.
Why?
Right, we took it over, and that was the big thing, we're gonna have to plow this road. Well, thank God we actually have it, because now we have the municipal building off of it. But I always thought of it as the extension, that was the way, but Mr. Scatino is correct, we just gotta get the right language in there. I still think we can pass it, but.
Yeah, subject, it's vote to introduce, but
Well,
don't
good
publish
word.
it until we have it, or make it subject to police department verification as to the legal description of the roadway.
So,
Roll call.
Councilman Saluka.
yes.
Councilman Arcomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazur. Council President Garrick.
Yes.
Now therefore be resolved that the ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 196 of the Code of the Township of Southbrook entitled Vehicles and Traffic heretofore passed on first reading be further considered for a final passage at a meeting to be held on the 20th day of July 2023 at 7 o'clock p.m. or sooner after as the matter can be reached at the municipal complex, 55 Mayhill Street, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion.
Motion. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Saluka?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Council President Garrett.
Yes.
First reading ordinance 1738-23, an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 206 of the Code of the Township of Southbrook entitled zoning.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Saluka?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Council President Garrett.
Yes.
Now therefore be resolved that an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 206 of the Code of the Township of Southbrook entitled zoning, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 20th day of July, 2023, at 7:00 p.m., or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the municipal complex, 55 Mayhill Street, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Saluka?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Council President Garrett.
Yes.
Okay. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requests it, in which case the items or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and application. The minutes of the May 18th meeting will be voted on separately.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Saluka?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Council President Garrett.
Yes.
We have the minutes of the May 18th, 2023 public meeting.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Saluka?
Abstain.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Abstain.
Council President Garrett.
Yes. Old business? Anyone old business? Matt?
I have a couple of things. I just want to mention, I had said about the rec center and about how there's a lot of things on the town website pertaining to the new rec center. I know that the rules and regulations for the center are on the website, and I believe, I looked through it quickly, but there's something in there that pertains to, that addresses a penalty for someone, these kids that vandalized the ping pong table, or whatever, the ping pong table, I believe it was. But, there's some kind of penalty phase, a suspended membership for a period of time, or whatever. So that's, it's good that we have that in place already. I forgot, I just want to again wish Nancy Garrett a happy birthday. I can't believe I forgot her, but thanks for reminding me, Paul. Something really nice that I saw this week. As a matter of fact, I was approached by three girls from Southwark High School that they had a project in their history class, and the project involved taking old videotapes and digitizing it. And they actually they took the years 2002, 2003, and because we've been videotaping our meetings for a long time, and the high school, their football games, they would tape them. But they took those 2 years and and they digitized it all, and they put it on YouTube. It's called Southbrook Community Archive. So the girls that were about Kayla De La Salas, Samantha Apgar, and Melanie Aftisian. I'm sure I didn't do well with those names, but those three young ladies, and they really did a good job. You can go to YouTube and look it up. As a matter of fact, I was looking through, and there was one there with Mr. Simaluka, who was on the other side of the dais. And he was seemed like a pretty robust conversation with former Mayor Lou D'Arminio.
Oh, I remember that one.
And you know what?
I was escorted out, as I remember.
You've aged very well. I didn't see the whole thing. You look good. you look pretty good. Just saying. But yeah, so it's very interesting. A lot of the town meetings and football games, but it's a lot of stuff. So, and I hope they continue to do it. It'd be nice to get that, because what happens, those old videotapes, they deteriorate. You can't use them anymore. So, kudos to them for doing that. Also, too, Mr. Samuluk and I have spoken about getting a sponsor for these concerts, and we're very close. It looks like we're going to get a sponsor or two sponsors for at least one of the concerts. And my question is, I'm looking at our business administrator, Maureen, if we're able to get a sponsor, because right now I think it's in the budget for these two. If we were able to get a sponsor, could we add a third one? I'm putting that, okay, all right, good. Because I know there's some other bands that are interested in playing, but that, and I also want to bring on, Todd had mentioned this at our work session, perhaps doing something where we have a parking space in our lot here for a veteran. I've seen it where, like, if you're a Purple Heart recipient, I think even Walmart does it. If you have those Purple Heart plates, you can park right up front. So I don't know, that's something I'd like to explore, because it'd be nice to have maybe one or two. We got a big enough parking lot here, so and it would be a nice thing. Yeah, so yeah, but we'll talk to John, the town attorney, and see what we can come up with. But thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else old business? Anyone new business? Okay. May I have a motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone?
Hi, Nancy Murray, Finance. Thank you for looking at the budget so carefully and fiscally responsibly. I know that no one likes a tax increase, but I do think that considering the items that went up in price that you can't control, that you're able to control other things. And I'm sure that the interest rate had a big hit on it, which wouldn't have been something that would have been in anyone's mind when we undertook the building. So kudos for everyone who's been cutting where they can and managing their budgets, because we do that as a corporation, and I think that's really good that the town is fiscally responsible as well. I don't know if this is an agenda item, but you've talked a lot about it, the speed bumps. Am I allowed to ask a question about the speed bumps because they were discussed? Who gets the surveys? Because if you put something on Shepherd's, don't you think the tree streets around there should also get the survey? We're going to be affected by it. I'm affected by the one on Wilson and the one on Fairlawn Parkway, just on Pine now. And I didn't know they were going up until they went up. Now, people come up the block, go through Pine, and go down and miss the speed bump. They go up, I've done it too, I'm guilty of it. I go up Wilson, cut through the street to miss that speed bump, especially when they were doing work on Shepherd's. You're just funneling traffic to other streets by doing this. You do this on Shepherd's, and they're all just, I have a little car, I have a low car, a Camry. I just tried to come down the one on Fairlawn Parkway by the garage, by 7th and Gordo. I have to literally step and then go over the hump, or I will take out the bottom apron of my car. It's a Camry. So 15 miles an hour, I can't do anything over those speed bumps at 15. Maybe in the Explorer, but not in my Camry. So it's difficult for some of us with low cars. We're not going over that bump real fast. We're actually stopping before it. So before you do, maybe you want to add some of the side streets to some of the speed bump surveys to get the rest of us that live around, because I know for a fact that that speed bump on, where is it? It's between Graham and Alberta for Fairlawn Parkway. You just funneled all the traffic up Graham. We come off the Saddle River Road, and we don't want to go over that speed hump with our little car, so we just come past and we drive up Graham. So I'm sure that Graham probably isn't real happy about that either. So I'm just saying, sometimes these bumps, yes, they're well-intentioned, and I think they're doing their job where they have to, especially that one coming from Fairlawn into Saddlebrook on Fairlawn Parkway. I think it's having a tremendous effect for that street, but sometimes you just, you know, you push them off, and maybe we need to look at all of them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
I'm Deadman, 368 Albany Street. I just want to bring up at the flood committee, June 1st is hurricane season starting, so people could prepare for possible flooding. On our township website, as the OEM coordinator, there's special links for ready.gov. There's a lot of information for people that do live in the flood area. They can visit and look, prepare. This is the time to prepare now, before the hurricanes come. That's it.
Thank you, Tom.
And there's also, if anybody else wants to be a CERT team, they are open up in classes in the fall this year. I didn't get any dates yet. Once we get them, we will post them.
Appreciate it. Thank you for all you're doing. Appreciate it.
John, where can they go to, you said it's going to be
Oh,
posted,
on-
which website?
On the township website, they go underneath the OEM page. There's different pictures and links that bring you to all different websites. A lot of information on there. There's also on the township website, under the OEM page, there's a radar for hurricanes and the storms. There's going to be alerts put out there. There's also a link on there you can look.
The CERT applications, would they be on the
Yes.
OEM section of the township website?
Yes, I'm going to add it to there once it comes out, the link for that.
Okay, thank you.
And the head guy for it is Councilman Todd Altamando has that up for the CERT team.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Motion to close motion to close for agenda items?
Second?
Roll call.
Councilman Saluka?
Yes.
Councilman Armando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Council President Garrett.
Yes. Any final comments? No. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, there it is.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Take care, everyone. See you next month.